Hello, everyone. I
Hi.
I am joined today by the Amazing. I'm saying your name and the word amazing. That's what you are. You're Amazing.
I love that. Thank you.
It's Ava Pandit. She is a certified facilitator and lives in Seattle, Washington, but then travels all over the world facilitating classes as well. So thank you for being on today.
Thank you.
Some of you are either really grateful that we had to push it back and reschedule it later. Some of you might be watching the replay, and some of you are going to probably watch the replay anyway. So, this is a lovely exploration that we've been doing for the last few months called The Tools to Thrive, where we explore our favorite tools and awarenesses and possibilities from the foundation class in Access Consciousness, which is actually the class you can take after you've taken an Access Bars class. And it used to be 4 days, it's now 3.5 days. And it changed dynamically in March when we did the Global Foundation. The entire manual got a rewrite, which I'm sure you've heard about. New body processes, new everything. Um, but there's a lot in there that is still woven through. And one of the one of the things that Ava and I were talking about earlier is before we came on because we weren't recording yet is the foundation really invites you to discover what is your reality. Like, what is your reality? Where is your reality? What would it be like if you were actually choosing your reality and living from that? Um, we are born into this amazing place called planet Earth, and we are given a whole bunch of tools to function and live. And what if it's not actually the way that you would naturally do that? So, Miss Ava, you were explaining to me before we got on how one of your tools that you've been talking about lately is light and heavy.
Yeah.
What is what's been showing up for you lately? I get like with all of Access Consciousness, like some of the basic tools, they become louder and more prevalent. And sometimes you're like, I've already heard of that one, light and heavy. You guys have been talking about that for years. But it's like now it's showing up so different. So what's been showing up for you in classes or in your life?
Yeah, thank you. I think that's so correct that right now with all the upgrades in access and the foundation class, it's like all the different tools that are quote unquote basic at the same time the most advanced tools in access, they are just they I just get them in such a different way. Like just this morning, we were looking at how the light and heavy and the simplicity. I love that's my most favorite tool ever. And the simplicity of that which is light for you is what is true for you. And that which is heavy in the very simple way, it's not like that's it. Like it's not true for you. It's just information. You're aware of something, but it's not actually yours because that which is yours will always have a sense of lightness. And this is not to say, like, I see a lot of times people might misidentify lightness as, oh, everything's always going to be so happy and wonderful. And a lot of times it is, yes. But the beauty of the light tool is that even when it gets not so fun, it can still be light. You can still have ease. And even in the situations where a lot of people might be struggling way more, you tend to have a different reality. So, really just getting how uh, just this morning in one of my groups, I was having this conversation around light and heavy with money. And we were just looking at how we talk about it that what's light is what's true for us, what's heavy is a lie. And when it comes to like financial reality and money and that kind of fun stuff, a lot of times people have a very dense, stress filled, contractive reality around it. Like they don't like it. And then a lot of times people from there go into like avoidance of that, judgment of themselves, further frustration, and totally miss out that very first key that which is heavy is likely not yours. So if we take just that everything else away and that one piece of tool and look at, okay, if it is heavy, it's not mine, and my financial reality is not fun, it's definitely not light, then who the hell's financial reality am I living? Is this even mine? It's like you begin having relevant conversations just from that one tool of awareness that, oh, it's heavy. It's always been like that. So I've always been living somebody else's point of view. Like, so what is my point of view? What is my reality? Just opens such a different, doorway to a different future, a different conversation, a different set of energies to come into your life. So,
I love that. I love that you said it opens the door to you being able to have like a relevant conversation. And it's like, what if you just follow that? Okay, this is heavy. You don't have to figure out where it came from. You don't have to like go tracking through your past and be like, I got it from mom, I got it from dad. You can if you want to explore that. But it's like, okay, it's heavy. It's not true for me. Not relevant. What's my reality? Move on. Like this is really, I would say now for me, it's like everything is possible. So what do you want to choose and how do you get there? Like if you truly are following the energy, following the lightness, choosing what's light. If it's heavy, what's it showing you? What's true here? What's a lie here? What's a truth with a lie attached? And then really, like, what if you are the only one that knows what's true for you? Hint, you are totally the only one. Access, I don't know what's true for you. Ava doesn't know. We can ask you questions so that you get to the awareness of it, but we're not here, and Access isn't here to tell you what's true for you. It's your discovery of it.
absolutely.
Especially with, man, financial reality, everything that's going on in the world. Will you destroy it and create it all?
Right, wrong, good, bad, online, potbox, shorts, boys, pull bats, and beyonds.
Yes. And Deborah R says that makes so much more sense to me, and question everything. Yep. Question everything from curiosity, not from like, right or wrong or whatever, but truly like, what is this true for me? What is this? Where am I going? Where would I like to go? And it's not that light is right and heavy is wrong either. Access consciousness is about everything's included without judgment. Notice when you're like in a heavy thing and I don't know if it's just my OCD. Sometimes I'll be like, I must dig into whatever this heavy thing is.
I think I remember like I had once asked Gary a question around that. I'm like, Gary, I get like this perceiving, knowing, being, receiving, and I'm not doing actively a lot of thinking, feelings, that kind of heavy stuff anymore. But at the same time, I feel like there's a pull to that heaviness. And like it, sometimes it pulls me in. What do I do? And Gary's like, don't go there.
Yep. Don't go there.
And I was like, oh my God, like even just that one simple, and that's the simplicity of the tools in Access. They remind you of the choice you have. That don't go there. Do you realize that you have a choice in that moment to not make it so real, not actually go into the heaviness of it. And a lot of times I really like looking at that analogy of the universe, like not even just saying in a metaphorical way, but literally the universe. There's like space, literally where the space station hangs out or whatever. And then there are planets, and then there are like, these solid cosmic objects. But we don't see space, but we see space. You know what I'm saying? Like space feels like nothing. They say there's no sound in space, but that's the only thing that is holding everything in place. That's there. The magic lives there. All the beauty lives there. All the mysteries and possibilities live there. So it's like we're so conditioned making the that which is solid more real and totally ignoring or negating the fact that there is enormous amount of space and then these tiny 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 specks of solidities. So what if our life was like that, enormous amount of space and like these tiny 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 specks of solidities that we're aware of?
Yeah. Ah, space. Space is wonderful.
Isn't it? Oh,
I was just having a moment earlier where I was like out walking my puppy and I was like, I would like to just have more and more space. Like, so every space that you get to, what if there's more available?
mm,
Rather than like, I don't know what this is like. Let me go look for solidity. What more space is possible?
yeah, yeah, I love that. I love that question. What's more space is possible? Wow. I'm going to ask that more. What more space is possible?
It's
Like,
really great for, like if you're finding yourself running out of time to ask
yeah.
for more space because time is, locked in linearly, but you can ask for way more space so that you have more space to do whatever you were going to do in a certain amount of time. I
I
love
love that.
that.
I love that. I'm
Try
gonna use it.
asking for more space with money. What if you could add space to everything? Like, what would it be like if you took the heavy that you were, okay, you say you get a bill or your rent goes up or everything's so expensive because of inflation, and you tap into everybody else around you who's like, ah, okay, cool. I'll be aware of all of that. And what would it be like if I added space to this? Would you be able to perceive, know, and be and receive everything and add space to it? And what space can you be?
I love that question so much. Yeah,
Yeah,
brilliant.
because I'm doing it right now for my for my
Can
every
perceive it totally. Yeah,
your
and
body, space with your relationships, space. Like, what if space, just asking for more of it, is that lightness that you are seeking?
that exactly. Wow. Yeah. And sometimes, like when I get it, like when being a psychic SpongeBob, sometimes when you get so like, oh, with everybody else's universe, sometimes like you just even recognizing having these tools. I think one of the greatest gifts of it is having the awareness. So even if you're not, because by the way, if you didn't know this, there's no right way to do consciousness. Right? So even in those moments when you catch yourself, that's consciousness. In those moments when you interrupt that pattern just by getting up, like no, and maybe just go do your dishes or take your dog for a walk, that's consciousness. That's you
Yeah,
choosing. So also anywhere anybody listening might have like this idea of what consciousness is, and any of those wishy-washy kind of spiritual ideas around what it is like to live a conscious life. Can we destroy and uncreate all that too?
no, yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pod bug, shorts, boys, ads, and beyonds.
Have you ever chosen anything that you knew was going to be heavy and you chose it anyway?
Me?
I'm just wondering.
Never. What? Of course I have. And
Isn't
it,
that awesome?
yeah, it's amazing.
It's just so interesting because people, it's like choice. One of the things Gary Douglas has said forever is choice creates awareness. Awareness doesn't create choice. So it's like when you choose something and it makes you feel heavy or makes you feel lighter, do you judge the lightness as right and the heavy as wrong? Or what if it was just designed to give you more information, more awareness about what that choice is creating if you continue to choose it? That's what I think is really funny. I don't know. I personally have done that where I'm like, I'm choosing it. Awareness is heavy. I'll keep choosing it to see if it ever changes to lightness because I really like this choice. Might be called a relationship or a job or anything like that.
Yeah, that's so funny. I can see where I do that too. Yeah.
But,
We're cute like that.
the beauty is you can be like, it's just awareness. If nothing is right and nothing is wrong, okay, cool. I'm choosing heavy.
Yeah.
Okay, when would I like to stop choosing this? What else could I choose? Would an infinite being really choose this?
Hmm.
I'm just reading some comments. So Deborah is asking, what tool can I use when I get yelled at for having an option, maybe opinion, maybe, I'm not sure, about something that is not the same as that person? Ooh, good question. Do you have a tool?
The first thing that popped, Deborah might not like hearing it, but I can still hear like Gary saying, "Shut up."
Yeah.
Like a lot of times, I found so much discomfort and beauty in that tool that and a lot of times when other people are involved, it's like it's tricky because like there's their reality and what they want to believe and their projections and their needs. And so first of the things that I've recently started practicing and I see works like magic is to, in those times, just to begin with, shut up and just let that be, and let me be with the discomfort. And that choice to shut up gives me more space then to like play with other tools. Like if you've heard of interesting point of view, you have this point of view, and it's not something that you necessarily say out loud. You could.
Yeah, this
It doesn't usually work.
when you want to activate shut up is Just say it in your head.
In your head, like, shut up, shut your mouth up.
An interesting point of view. You have this point of view may not be something you say out loud.
Exactly. But like, so, and then there, well, there's this book, right? 10 Keys to Total Freedom. We study this entire, all the 10
Awesome
keys.
book, and it's a telecall. If you don't like to read, get the telecall, get
Yes,
both.
please.
You can read along to the telecall with the book, but it's that book. I go to it every day, and I'll just open to a page, and it is dynamite. So thank you for bringing it and showing it.
Yeah, absolutely. The reason I brought it up is because it's always, you can see it's a very well loved book, but it's also my go to that, and you learn these tools in the foundation class as well. In fact, all of foundation class is about looking at how you can use these tools in whatever areas that might be sticking in your life. And so, like, interesting point of view is one of the 10 keys. So, I'd say, like, however, what I'm discovering for myself is that shutting up makes using the tools a lot more easier. Like, if I'm not arguing with the reality, then I have the space to even look at, hey, is it even real?
Oh, and she said, okay, sounds better than getting yelled at by my partner. So it must be maybe a person you're in a relationship with. Um, there is a really amazing telecall that Gary Douglas did a few years ago called, what's the name of it? It's like being in a relationship with someone who doesn't use access consciousness tools.
Oh, yeah.
It was so fucking brilliant. And so many of the questions were about, like, when my partner does something I don't like, or when my partner doesn't agree with me, like, and it was like, and almost every single time, if I remember correctly, it was like, okay, if you fight him on this, what's that going to create? Do you want to keep him? Do you want to lose him? Do you want to get rid of him? Would a sexual favor be more get your way? Like, what are the ways that you can actually interact with him rather than going to fight? And so that's so hard. I know, especially as warrior women, when we're like, rah, let's, change the world, and you're going to change it with me, and we're going to, like, whatever,
Yeah.
this thing. But it was like every time somebody had the choice to go to, like, argue or fight or defend, what if you just didn't have to fight? What if you could just, like you were saying, be totally interesting point of view, total allowance, not that you let him walk all over you or anyone walk all over you, but like, hey, is this really, like we said at the beginning, is this relevant? Like, is me going to battle for this, is this really relevant to the rest of my life? Is this going to really change anything? Or would allowing them to have their point of view with me having total allowance and whatever I have to do to get to allowance for me, would that actually create more ease? And this is what's so brilliant about, like, one little question like that in the foundation class just, like, explodes so much,
Absolutely.
where you can have ease in areas of, like, difficulty. See? Exactly. You don't have to bark. Hold on. You talk. I'll be right back.
Okay. Lady bears in the house.
Lady is letting us know she would bark and fight.
Yeah, I love what Megan just said, like, there are so many tools that we can use and so many ways in which you can apply all the tools for that matter to that very, very same example of being around someone. And one of the key things that I really enjoy doing, which is also again a lot of times way more intense in practice, and when I say intense, not in a way, oh my god, this is hard, intense in a way that it requires an intense presence from you, is expansion. Like, really going bigger than this, bigger than the city, bigger than the earth. Like, expand out until you can actually, find a space where you're receiving again and being again. And from that space, you have different access to what you would like to choose, not like get pulled into the densities and the needs and the whole reaction universe that, essentially when someone is screaming, yelling, they're trying to do some sort of control, either they're in some reaction, they don't even know what they're doing or whatever. But what if none of that mattered and you get to have you irrespective of what anybody else around you is choosing? And that is one of the greatest gifts you receive from a foundation class and all these tools, that you learn that what are like 100,000 tools that you can, maybe not 100,000, but
I
definitely
think
like,
there are probably 100,000, maybe a
yeah,
million. I think there are so many.
I I totally agree. There are like so many tools, and
Tool
each and
upon
every
tool.
can be applied.
Yeah.
Like Megan said, even I do that a lot. When there's something going on, I just open a book and I start reading. And 100% of the times I find some awareness that would, change the energy, start changing the energy for me. And that's the beginning, just changing that energy and discovering that sense of, lightness, like moving more towards that which is light for you. And even like just as we talked at the beginning, that recognizing that if it is heavy, if it is dense, if it is contracting your space, it's not yours. It's not true for you. It's not your reality. So then, what does it require and what does it take to not like get swept away into that? And to actually still have you, like in all of your totality, with full presence of, like, the way consciousness includes everything, judges nothing. What is that consciousness in you that allows everything to be and allows you to show up the way you would like to in your life?
That was beautiful. Deborah just said it was over Trump. So politics. Politics are
Ah,
just another great time to shut up, I do have to say.
yeah.
Especially in your relationships. Is this relevant to our relationship, to what I desire to create with him for the future? It may be. You never know. It's like, but those are how you can use these questions to get to what's true for you. Like, okay, is this going to work for me? Yes or
Mhm.
no? You know?
And I think one piece of information that I find has really helped me a lot is to get more and more clear with what is the energy I would like my life to be.
Yes.
What is it that I would like to see more of in the world? That is these two questions I like cultivate presence with all the freaking time. Because when someone is fighting, is that energy what I'd like to have more of in my life? Is that energy what I'd like to contribute more towards in the world? No. So then shut up,
Yeah.
use a tool, you know. So that to me is always a great, like, that's the reason enough for me to like stop
Yeah.
engaging with something that I might also sometimes, I get it. Sometimes you're like, you so want to be right. And you so want them to know they're wrong and for them to shut up rather than you. But, the beauty is that you get to be the one who plays with these tools, and you get to be the one who gets to have the energies you would like to have in your life. So that's a choice that you can make.
No.
And that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
The power in what you're saying without a point of view is so amazing. Because there's so much potency if you have you and you're unshakable. But you do, like, I love how you said that. You have to get to what's true for you. What do you desire to create? Because until you have that, you are like bounced around, based on everyone else's point of view about you or what you should choose or what points of, like, whatever. So that's awesome. And the foundation totally helps. This isn't necessarily a commercial for the foundation class, but it is a commercial for the foundation
I
class.
think if you haven't taken a foundation class, what are you doing? Kidding, but not.
Kidding, but not. And the latest one, there's so
Oh
much,
my God.
basically, to not give it all away, but to give you like a hint. All of this stuff on the need to react or fulfilling other people's needs or coming to conclusions about what you've decided is so, all of that is jam packed in this 3.5 day foundation class.
Crazy.
It
Yeah.
is, if you had a foundation, I don't know, 3 years ago, and you
Four
have
months ago.
4 months ago, another one, it is fucking phenomenal. And I've heard so many people say how uncomfortable they are because it's like it really is undoing that place where you aren't choosing and creating your life based on what's right or wrong or how other people are reacting to you or what other people need. And I personally am really good at creating based on what other people need. I'm like, oh, do you need me? That feels really good for me. Or, oh, you're reacting like but that it's never giving me what I desire. It's
Yeah.
always based on everyone else. And so taking those, like you really could take 3.5 days just to really find what is your reality, what's true for you. And it's continuous, it's like I've been doing access for I don't know, like 15 years or something. And I have had another like plateau of like, okay, everything that I had desired to create 5 years ago has shown up, is showing up. What else would I like? There was no end to what's possible. So what else would you like? What else is possible now?
Absolutely. I love that.
I mean, goodness, it's exciting.
I know we're in such great times, and I've never been more excited about foundation classes.
My
Like,
God.
especially with the new tools that have recently been added, that Megan was just talking about, are such they've just shortcut the whole thing.
Yes.
Like a lot of times, it used to take us 4 days. The end of the fourth day, you'll reach a point where now you reach that point in the first half an hour of the class.
Yes.
So it's so exciting that, definitely if you took this class even 4 months ago, it's a different class altogether. I know you might have heard it if you've taken multiple foundations before, but this time this is like that on steroids, like the level of change that has been
Oh my
created.
gosh, so true. And Deborah, you're still learning. I'm still learning, and I took my first foundation class like 15 years ago. It's there's always more available, and I will say if you have done foundation recently, please get your bars run. Please run body processes and just know that you're more aware. So the other day I was like really really aware of a lot of crap, like really crappy, like just I felt like I was just like this psychic SpongeBob of crap. And I was like, all right, thank you, awareness. Thank you for my superpower of awareness having expanded again. And can I have more of like awareness of joy and happiness, even if it's just from the planet? Like, I get that my knob, my awareness knob has been turned up again like a bazillion times. And can I please have more awareness of like joy, like equal amounts or over more? Like instead of just like intensity, heaviness, I would like more of the lightness. And it's
Yeah.
changing and like just acknowledging, okay, I could, like you said, heavy. I can be aware of all of this heavy. I can wake up and be like, oh my God, what's going on? Or I could be like, okay, I have all of this awareness, and where else can I have my reality? For me, like tapping into listening to the birds,
Mm,
the trees, and the wind, like all of that gives me that space that we were talking about. Uh,
right.
so just know that that's the other beauty of Lady barking over there.
Lady's like, go preach, mom, go preach.
Potency, uh, unfiltered potency is what she's showing me lately. Never turn you down for anyone.
Not at all.
Um,
I love
but
that.
with access, you have facilitators. There's 8 million Facebook groups and
Mhm.
Telegram threads and WhatsApp threads. So you always have someone that you can reach out to. If that heaviness, if you're like, I don't know, I'm using every tool and I can't get to lightness, call someone. Because sometimes even someone asking you, is it yours, is way more effective than you asking yourself if it's yours. So
So true. Yeah, that is so true. When you said call someone, I was like, not your mother, though.
don't call someone, ask the question, if I choose this,
Like,
to be
you
light
know,
or heavy.
exactly. And
You
don't
do
you? Like,
know.
you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
reach out. Like, really do this for yourself. This is really not for anything or anyone, but like you, how long have you been looking for something different in your life? How long have you known something different is available? And I remember one of the first things that I heard from Gary in one of the first ever live classes that I did with him was that consciousness is not for the feeble of hearts, it's for the brave ones to choose. And I'm saying that to like even get you to look at what can you acknowledge about you, because you're here, you're in this group, you're listening to these conversations here. So these conversations are not for the feeble of hearts. Anywhere you might be judging yourself or making yourself wrong, can we just stop it? And like, really, truly, what can you acknowledge about how brave you be to be here, to listen to us for this long, to have these different conversations with yourself, to even explore this different possibility. And what would it be like if you trusted that brave you way more? And what would your life be like? What would your future be like? What will your financial reality be like? What will your relationships be like? What would it be like to live in that world where you trust you more? Cool.
I'm just asking for my backup dog whisperer, Tristan, to come help.
Ah. I love that. I love. And the beauty is like there's so many of these foundational tools because I have a dog home at home too that you can use with your animals at home.
What do you use? What are your favorites?
Oh, I love like all the X-Men tools. I 100% talk to my dog like that, like totally in images. Like, and this, my dog is more like a horse. She has like her own personality. And she just, if I ask her to do something like from a pig's point of view, she would never listen. But if I give her like an image of what I desire, oh,
There you
hi,
are.
lady.
Yeah.
Hi.
She's like, I'm the same.
So that's one of my favorite thing to do is to non-verbally like communicate in pictures and in energies, and 100% of the time like I taught my husband how to do that, and he was amazed. Initially he like looked at me and he was like, yeah, yeah, whatever, your tools and you, but then he used it and he's like, it works.
That is so great. That's the thing about these tools is they work. So use the ones that work
Yeah,
for you, and if they don't work for you, don't use them.
yeah, exactly.
But I love that you mentioned X-Men, and then there's Talk to the Animals. There are so many specialty classes and access that are designed to kind of take you deeper if maybe the foundation isn't for you right now, or whatever, if you just like to explore something else. But they're so
Absolutely.
amazing. There's relationship done different. Talk to the animals, talk to the entities. You can talk to everything, every energy.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And books, like all the books, like you said, the 10
The
Candles
books
Moon.
are like amazing. It's like sometimes I read some of these initial books that Gary wrote and stuff, and I'm like, wow. And then I'm like, when I read, I'm like, well, we don't talking about it, but definitely he has been talking about it, and definitely I've read it before because it's underlined. But that's the beauty of these books as well, that every time you open a page, even if you've read it 100 times before, there is something different available. And don't just trust me on that, like go play and see how it works for you. And like with everything in access, it's always about never, don't just follow. It's not, access is not something you follow. Gary or Dane or any of us, we're not people that you follow. The beauty of access is that you get to have your reality and find what's true for you. And one of the things also that I heard from Gary, that kind of like I was still skeptical when I first found access. I'm like, this looks really cool, and there's a lot of things that are like super light for me, but let me see what's the catch here. I was
Right.
like approaching it like that. And I remember in the first ever class, I used to live in India back then. And when Gary came for the, back then it was called level 2 and 3. And he said, don't trust me, trust you, was one among the first things that he said. And I'm like, now you got me. Okay. This is the first time in my life ever that anybody has said, don't trust me, trust you. Like everybody else, anywhere else. And all of the even educational stuff was always about, this is how it is, this is how that works. Now you have to listen to me. You follow what I do, and it's going to work.
Yeah.
But this was the first time ever. Like, these are the tools, but you know, trust yourself. Use what works for you. Do not, even things like I've heard Gary say stuff like they're assholes in access. So just because someone's doing an access class, don't just assume they're conscious or more conscious than you. That's
Yeah.
so pragmatic. And you hear these kind of things that I have personally never heard anywhere outside of these classes, and it's such a breath of fresh air.
It really is. And he one time said, "You don't have to take shit from anyone, even if it's me." And I'm like it's just amazing. Like you said, it's be skeptical, question everything. This is about empowering you to know that you know, and all the facilitators do their best job to do that as well. And we're not perfect.
Absolutely not.
We've never claimed to be. We are finding our way as well. So, oh man. Thank you, Ava, for coming on today. I'm very excited to have this conversation with you.
Thank you, Megan. It was a joy to have this conversation with you.
We are actually, I don't know if we've officially announced it anywhere, but we're going to be taking a little hiatus because in Access, even with the business, we're always asking like, okay, is this still working? Is this creating? So we kind of got a hit that we've been doing. I don't know how long we've been doing this. Feels like forever, but it's probably been like 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, maybe since the start of the year, I think. So we're going to continue through May, and then I think there's a few, maybe more in June, but then we're going to take a few months off. So let us know if you miss it, if you'd like more, what else you would like, because we like talking and we like inviting people, and sometimes we've done what we've came to do. So do you have any foundation classes coming up, or anywhere people can find out more information about you?
Sure. You can find me on Access as you can any facilitator close by to you for any bars classes you want or any other in-person classes you'd like to take. My website is avapandit.com. I am facilitating a foundation class next month in Seattle. It's not on the website yet, but yeah, follow the energy, guys. Like you will know when and where it is for you to have what you would like to have. So
On that note, thank you. That was wonderful.
thank
And
you.
thank you, everyone, for joining, and Deborah for all of your questions.
Yes.
And Kushbu for cheering in. We love having live listeners. It makes it that much more fun. And thank you to everyone listening in the future to this replay. If you have any questions about Access ever and you don't know where to go, you can always email customer service at accessconsciousness.com and they will help you find your way. So
amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hope to see you guys somewhere in the world soon.
Yay.
Yay.